Hey everyone, this is Firstborn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Well, a week removed of talking and video blogging and doing everything about winter weather today, my concern is severe weather. We've got a very complex weather situation setting up here in the next 24 hours. Fast-moving system that's going to bring the threat of severe weather. Let's kind of give you the lay of the land right now. Here we are at 1 o'clock while I'm recording this. It's 74 degrees in Charlotte. That currently ties the record high for today, set back in 1997. You can see we've got some low to mid-80s just to the south of us. And when you look at the dew points, while we're in the low 50s, that's much higher dew points than we've seen recently. There's a lot of 60-degree dew points to the south. Let me show you temperatures to our west, 60s and 70s, but a very complex storm system setting up. I'm going to turn off the temperatures. I'm going to throw a couple of things on here. The first thing I'm going to throw up is the pressures, the sea surface pressures. This is a 992 millibar low over northern Missouri and southern Illinois. That's a potent storm system. And you can see these arrows. These are the low-level jet, we call it, the 850 millibar winds. And they're right now coming in there anywhere from about 40 to 50 to as high as 65 knots. So that's a very strong low-level wind. And you can see we've got several what we call mesoscale discussions, one for wintry weather to the north. That's going to be a blizzard up there in parts of northern Iowa and southern parts of Minnesota, but you can see to the south are your classic dry lines setting up almost with severe storms. The real question is, will we get supercells to develop? While there is just incredible amounts of shear, we just don't have the instability to get these really deep updrafts. It may not matter anyways, because the straight line wind threat is huge. We can't rule out tornadoes, even a couple strong ones, but when you look at the overall threat, it really is about 10 times higher for wind than it is for tornadoes. So I don't want to diminish the tornado threat. It's just that it's not going to affect as many people as, let's say, the severe weather threat. This is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today. Moderate risk from almost southern Indiana all the way back into northern Mississippi. And the primary concern is going to be straight line winds. You can see this purple area. That's a 45% likelihood of a damaging wind gust within 25 miles of any point on the map. That's really significant. So we're talking about a huge, huge wind event, straight line winds. I talked about this on Twitter earlier today. Your house, power lines, trees, they don't care what produces the wind. If you get 70, 80, 90 mile an hour wind gusts, it's going to break stuff. It doesn't matter if it came from a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. The impacts are identical. So don't get caught up on tornado versus tornado warning versus tornado watch. This is all going to be very dangerous because of the wind energy. And speaking of that wind energy, we'll start with the NAM model, which has been doing a pretty good job so far with some of these parameters. This is the future radar. We're going to go out into the evening hours, and you can see a couple things you notice. Two significant squall lines develop, but backing off of those singular supercells ahead of the main line. I wouldn't rule out one, but if I think that happens, it happens in this warmer air in Mississippi and Alabama more so than Kentucky or Tennessee. But once this squall line matures, it becomes what we call a QLCS. That means it's a squall line that's squiggly. And everywhere you get a little squiggle is where you get a little rotation. And these are these quick spin-up tornadoes. By the time the warning goes out, they're often gone. So that's why I don't want people to get caught up in tornado warnings versus severe thunderstorm warnings. If you get a severe thunderstorm warning today, it could be as severe as a tornado, so you need to take all warnings seriously. As we go into the overnight hours, we'll go to about 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. That is one heck of a squall line. You see these squiggles up in southern Ohio. We've got a couple notches here. This just screams all kind of straight line winds with embedded what we call mesovortices. They're very hard to detect on radar, but I guarantee there's going to be some in there. And then we go towards tomorrow morning. At 7 a.m. This is going to be weakening, but probably still producing some serious wind as it moves into North Carolina by about 7 in the morning. By 7 in the morning, it's moving into the North Carolina mountains, and by the afternoon, it starts moving into the Charlotte area about mid to late morning, and then eastern North Carolina, it may perk back up as it taps into some warming of the day. But don't be fooled. If there's not lightning or thunder with some of these, there may not be. They still could produce some very, very, very high wind gusts. And to that point, let me show you some of the wind energy. The first thing I'm going to show you is 850 millibar winds. We'll call the low-level jet. And again, over on the left is your scale. These are all around 65 to 70 knots of wind coming in at about 5,000 feet off the deck. So it doesn't take much to mix these winds down to the surface. The low-level jet is really key into keeping these thunderstorms going gangbusters at night. And you can see how you get this enhanced wind up here in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, western Kentucky, western parts of Tennessee, and then that line moves to the east and it stays pretty strong as we go into the overnight hours. So wind, 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 wind. I mean, there's just no other way to talk about it. Let's go up even higher. We'll go to about 10,000 feet up. We'll go up to about 500 millibars, and that's the vorticity. But let me show you the wind, because there's a really strong mid-level jet streak associated with this area as well. I mean, that's insane. That's 120, 130 knots of wind at about 10,000 feet. So just tremendous amounts of wind energy that will take very little to mix down to the surface. And when we talk about mixing down to the surface, I'm going to show you the sounding. This is what we call the buff kit. It's just a program we use to look at the winds. I'm going to show you the overview for the Charlotte area. Let me turn a couple things off here. I'm going to turn the winds on. And the thing you notice is as we go through the afternoon, this is actually old data. I don't know why the old data is still in here. Let's see if we can get the new data popping up there. There we go. There's the new data. Okay. So here you are. You see this area right here. You see these purple lines. This is the wind. Look how low those strong winds get to the ground. I'm going to make this even easier to see. We'll go out to 48 hours. Look right in here. Again, this white line is 5,000 feet. The brown is the ground. You can see 75, 80, 90 knot winds between 10 and 5,000 feet. And these showers coinciding with this time period. So what does that mean? Well, that means these strong winds off the surface can get mixed down to the ground. When you get updrafts, they tend to push the wind down, so you end up with that mixing, which can cause the strong winds to come down to the surface. So all the potential in the world is there that we are going to see damaging winds all the way into the Carolinas. I'm going to go out to tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and give it a second to load. And you can see those strong winds at 500 millibars are going to be there, as well as 850 millibars. You can see the strong winds over the Charlotte area. So this is really all about wind, so I want people to prepare and be ready for strong winds tomorrow morning in the Charlotte area, roughly between, I would say, 7 to 10. So the timing is still there. And if you haven't been to my Facebook page, make sure you go to my page and don't look at your news feed, because a lot of updates get missed. But I'm going to stick with this timing. I built this last night, and I'm really looking at 5 to 7 a.m. in the mountains, 7 to 9 a.m. for the Piedmont, and 9 to 11 a.m. as you go east of Charlotte. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Potential is there for really, really strong winds with these storms. And here's a look at those winds tomorrow morning. This is 7 a.m. again right here, 8, 9. So 9 a.m. right over the Charlotte area. So that's a quick look at the severe weather setup. This ran a little bit long, and I always do when I start talking about this stuff. But please be prepared. Make sure your phone is charged. Make sure you have the Weathercaster app. We'll send you push notifications right to your phone for where your phone's located. So you don't get all the warnings for everybody else, just for wherever your phone is. Make sure you turn those on. It's for Android and for for iPhone. We do not have a Windows one yet. I know everyone's clamoring for that, but we'll try to get it. But if you have an iPhone or an Android device, please download that app. The notification alerts alone are the reason to download that app. I'll be on the air today starting at 5. The Olympics are on at 4, so we won't be on. And of course, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. I'll have you covered there and at wcnc.com. Have a great day, and I'll see you today at 5.